Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Tousi TV. This is your global news channel. I'm Tousi, and Keir Starmer is in trouble. A massive civil war has erupted inside the Labour Parliamentary Party. The battle has now reached the level of between the cabinet and the backbench MPs. It doesn't really matter if the cabinet members are supporting the Prime Minister. The mechanism in the Labour Party is very different to the Conservative Party. So the Tory Party, you kind of need enough letters of no confidence to go into the 1922 committee in order to basically trigger a vote of no confidence. That's not how it works in the Labour Party. You simply need one challenger to basically do a leadership challenge with only 81 MPs out of, what is it, the 405 MPs that they have. It's all kicking off over the last few hours. The Labour backbenchers have started their rebellion. The Labour members have launched them a rebellion led by Anas Sarwar, the leader of the Scottish Labour Party. And there is a lot happening. And also in about 29 minutes time, we have a live feed from the House of Commons. All these MPs from that side, the Labour side, they're going to go into a private room as they are having an emergency meeting with the Prime Minister. Keir Starmer is going to be trying his best to save his job, but the clock is ticking. Can he survive after the May local elections? That is the key question. Now we're going to get your reaction live. First, let's talk about what actually happened today. So over the last couple of days, few days, we've had the resignation after resignation. So we had Morgan McSweeney, the Chief of Staff to the Prime Minister, who resigned. Now, today, we had yet another resignation from Downing Street. The Director of Communications, the man in charge of comms, has now gone. Tim Allen has also resigned. He said, I have decided to stand down to allow a new number 10 team to be built. I wish the Prime Minister and his team every success. Now, let's not forget that Tim Allen only got this job a few months ago in September. It's been only around for about 5 months because Morgan McSweeney was in charge of comms. Morgan McSweeney was the chief advisor. And following his resignation, the whole of the House of Cards is falling apart in general. Tim Allen, by the way, he's had a long history with the Labour Party, dodgy background because he used to work for Tony Blair and the Prince of Darkness, Peter Mandelson, between 1992 and 1998. Having said that, the Labour government under Keir Starmer have had many director of comms over the last year or so. So we had, Matthew Doyle resigned in March 2025. We had James Lyons resigning in September 2025, obviously. And then we also had Stephen Driver, who then resigned in September as well. And then we had Tim Allen. The rats are abandoning the ship. That is not my quote. That is the Tories. The Tory Central Office and Kemi Badenoch have said that the rats are abandoning the sinking ship. They've called on the Labour MPs to stop moaning and put Keir Starmer out of his misery. And Kemi Badenoch herself, as the leader of the opposition, said that Keir Starmer has lost total control. Matt Vickers, the Tory chairman, deputy Tory chairman, also said that the rats, he was the one who said the rats are abandoning the ship and saying that the Keir Starmer's premiership is coming to an end. The reason that the trigger is happening today is because of what happened a couple of hours ago, in Scotland. Yes, now we're just getting, we're getting the update, I think. Hang on. Yes, in the next 25 minutes, we're going to find out if we are going to have a challenger or whether Starmer's cabinet will be able to crush this rebellion. The Labour rebels are not giving up so far because the fight is not just against Keir Starmer, it's now against the whole of the cabinet. So if anybody from the existing cabinet try to stand in any upcoming leadership election, then Labour MPs, backbenchers and Labour members are not going to show any level of tolerance. because you guys backed the dying government of Starmer. Now, as I said earlier today, the leader of the Labour Party in Scotland, Anna Sawar, broke ranks and officially called for Starmer to resign. Let's go to Anna Sawar and see what he had to say.
Easy, and it's not without pain, as I have a genuine friendship with Keir Starmer. But my first priority and my first loyalty is to my country, Scotland. And I am not willing to sacrifice Scotland's NHS, our schools, our communities, our towns, cities, villages and islands to a third decade of an SNP government. That's why the distraction needs to end and the leadership in Downing Street has to change.
Wow. Now at this point the first senior figure, because everybody else is like Labour members, Labour backbench MPs, but Anna Sawar is the first senior figure to do this. But he always does this weird thing which is not really good, because the Labour Party in Scotland are supposed to be unionists. They're supposed to be in favour of the United Kingdom, as opposed to the SNP, who want separation. They want Scotland to be an independent, well, not independent, because they don't want Scotland to be independent. The SNP want Scotland to be dependent on the European Union. They want to leave the United Kingdom to join the EU. But it doesn't really help the narrative when Anna Sawar keeps saying, my country, my loyalty is only to my country, Scotland. You are supposed to be a bit of a unionist. Obviously, you can care about your tribe in Scotland, absolutely. Be proud of also being part of Team Scotland, but you're supposed to be defending the UK. Otherwise, why are you in the Labour Party? Just join the SNP. But having said that, this idiot aside, going to the situation with Keir Starmer himself. Starmer has now told, after what Anna Sawar said, he's now told the number 10 staff in Downing Street that he is not resigning. He's not going anywhere. He said, we go forward from here. We go with confidence as we continue changing the country. Now, I can confirm that Keir Starmer is indeed changing the country, but not for the better. He's basically saying the exact same thing right now as Ali Khamenei in Tehran. We're not going anywhere. I'm not resigning. I will continue to change the country. Number 10 have also released a statement. A spokesperson told us Keir Starmer is one of only 4 Labour leaders ever to have won a general election. That's not really a brag, is it? That's... It's supposed to sound impressive, but only 4 leaders managed to win elections over the last 120 years. Anyway, he has a clear 5-year mandate from the British people to deliver change, and that is what he will do. That is not correct. Constitutionally speaking, we don't have fixed-term parliament anymore. We don't have a presidential system. And we don't elect prime minister, so Keir Starmer doesn't have a mandate. The Labour MPs and Labour Party have a mandate in Parliament, democratic mandate, but it's not for 5 years. The 5-year issue is simply the maximum limits that you can basically cling onto power without calling an election. But it's not really, nobody gave you a 5-year mandate. Nobody even gave you a 1-year mandate. It's just a mandate for your party to have the majority in the House of Commons. But they would like to basically keep using the word 5 years because that way they can cling onto power without calling a snap election, right? That is literally the whole point. Now, Sawar is also in trouble himself. The same man who called for Starmer's resignation over Peter Mandelson and Jeffrey Epstein, he once said, this is literally a few months ago, posted a picture meeting Peter Mandelson saying, "It was great to catch up with my old friend and the UK's relatively new ambassador to the United States, Peter Mandelson." Oh, so that's why. Now, if you thought that Anna Sawar is some sort of hero or champion of the people against Keir Starmer in this rebellion, no. Everybody is in it for themselves. They're trying to save their own backside. Angela Rayner, on the other hand. So the cabinet have now come out in support of the Prime Minister, which is not a surprise. The war is between the cabinet and the members of the Labour Party. Angela Rayner is not technically in the cabinet. She is, but she's not, because she was elected as Deputy Prime Minister. which is the deputy leader, not deputy prime minister, deputy leader. And then they made her deputy prime minister for a bit, then she resigned, right? In disgrace. She has technically come out, but earlier on, something interesting happened. So a website called Angela for Leader briefly went live a few days ago, and obviously speculations that she's going to be standing in any upcoming leadership election. The domain of the website was registered with the same company as her official parliamentary site. And now that website has been taken down. She's now posted, "The recent scandal around Peter Mandelson and Jeffrey Epstein was shocking and demands that both this government and our party learn the lessons and act on them." We've learned from lessons, guys. She says, "But the worst possible response would be to play party politics or factional games. Labour is only getting started on changing things for the better. Our Employment Rights Acts, renters' rights, leasehold reform, free school meals, and lifting kids out of poverty." None of them have actually worked so far. "I urge all my colleagues to come together." That is very naughty of you. "Remember our values and put them into practice. As a team, the Prime Minister has my full support, leading us to that end." Oh, Angela, you've done it again. You are now in a bigger trouble than Keir Starmer himself. Every single person in the cabinet and outside the cabinet backing the Prime Minister, you will have no chance in becoming the next leader of the Labour Party. Now, the fascinating part about this is that the Conservative Party have also posted another video. This is kind of funny by the Tories. I rarely say that. Watch this. Clock's ticking, Prime Minister. Ivan says someone needs to tell Starmer he is done. He is well done. He is toast. He's burnt. He is gone. And yeah, I mean, it's not really a good look, is it? Shabana Mahmood. Of course, Shabana is the big choice here as the next leader of the Labour Party and our next Prime Minister in the United Kingdom. She has obviously also come out to show support because she has to. She's part of the cabinet, but she remains the obvious option to replace the Prime Minister following the downfall. Now, the problem here is that the far left and the Islamists are having a complete meltdown over Shabana's chances. There's so many people. So you got this guy, Javier, saying, "On behalf of all Muslims, we do not want this. We do not want her." It would be funny just to see the meltdown. Just to see the meltdown, it will be funny to see Shabana Mahmood becoming the leader of the Labour Party and Prime Minister as a hardliner. Obviously, the far left are not going to be happy about Shabana. The Islamists are not going to be happy with Shabana as Prime Minister. Her policies in the Home Office is basically alienating the radical voter base in their party. But it would still be controversial across the country anyway, because she will be the first Muslim Prime Minister, even though the Islamists are against her. It's a lose-lose for Shabana because I don't think she's going to be able to get the patriots on her side. But she's also not going to be able to get the far left and the Islamists on her side. So it's just going to be a bunch of centrists or, I don't know, blurites voting for her, I guess. Because the Liberals are not going to be happy with her either because she's socially conservative. So it will be funny to see her just to become leader because then the whole party will just completely explode. Yeah, that's... I love how there are still a big chunk of the Labour members who are seeing her as the vote winner. Who's going to vote for her? The Islamic community are not going to vote for her. The socialist side are not going to vote for her. The actual Liberals are not going to vote for her. And patriots are not going to vote for her. I mean, the statists would vote for her, but that's it, because she's hardline. But that's not really a good reason to have her as leader. It will be funny, but it won't last that long. Now, there was also, speaking of funny, there was also this weird situation that happened for about 3 minutes. A bit of a chaotic scene after Anna Sarwar, the leader of the Scottish Labour Party, they came out to call for Starmer to resign, right? We then had this idiot from the Welsh Labour Party. This is the Welsh Labour First Minister, Morgan, who was set to come out to also call for Starmer's resignation. Within 4 minutes, everything changed. Suddenly, her office said, actually, no, we were planning something, but no. Somebody had a chat with her. Somebody tapped her on the shoulder saying, no. Sit down, Morgan. Nobody wants to hear from you. Nobody knows who you are. Nobody cares. Go away. So the Welsh Labour Party have surrendered already to Downing Street and the cabinet. So for now, we just have the rebellion led by the Labour member rebels who are outside the number 10 bunker trying to drag the Prime Minister out of his hole. But it's going to be fascinating. And we now have 14 minutes left. 14 minutes to go till the crucial meeting. You can see the left-hand side in terms of their benches is getting quieter and quieter. The Labour MPs are slowly leaving the House of Commons chamber to go to their parliamentary meeting. But we'll talk about that in a second. Before that, the rest of the cabinets are also shooting themselves in the foot. Your leader is dying. The Prime Minister is drowning. What are you doing? Rachel Reeves, Chancellor, said, rebuilding Britain takes time. Okay, stay on topic, Rachel, stay on topic. But thanks to the decisions we've made, NHS waiting lists are falling, inflation is falling, it's gone up by another point. Interest rates are falling, the conditions for the economy to grow are there. With Keir as our Prime Minister, we are turning the country around. Did you notice something here? Did Rachel Reeves say that the Prime Minister has her support? Did Rachel Reeves actually say she has full confidence in the Prime Minister? Or did she just use random words to just vaguely say, with Keir as Prime Minister, we are turning the country... That's just a statement, right? That's just an ongoing statement. Also, she can't say that the economy is growing. She says the conditions for the economy to grow are there. She can't even say that. But so this statement by Rachel Reeves, a little bit vague. Let's go to our favorite, David Stupid Lammy. Okay. Lammy says, Keir Starmer won a massive mandate 18 months ago for 5 years to deliver on Labour's manifesto that we all stood on. We should let nothing distract us from our mission to change Britain. And we support the Prime Minister in doing that. So see, this is how you show support, Rachel Reeves. David Lammy will not be Prime Minister because he shot himself in the foot. Whoopsie. The Prime Minister himself, Keir Starmer, is a hypocrite. In case you didn't know, in case you were wondering what sort of person Starmer is as Prime Minister, it's a bit of a hypocrite. Because only a few years ago, when the Tories were going through the exact same problem, scandal after scandal, and the leadership of the Conservative government were throwing people under the bus, their own staff members, because that's what Starmer is doing now. Everybody else is resigning to save the Prime Minister's job. Starmer said, in my previous roles, when my staff made mistakes, I never turned on them. Just as a reminder, let's go to Starmer.
Hear me out. I had 8,000 staff for 5 years as the Director of Public Prosecutions. And I acted, I hope, in the right way with them, which is when they had victories, I celebrated on their behalf. I picked up awards on their behalves.
Why?
And when they made mistakes, I carried the can. I never turn on my staff, and you should never turn on your staff.
Okay, so firstly, you should never turn on your staff, and he did that. Secondly, why was it picking up awards on behalf of others? It's not your victory. That sentence did not land well, did it? I know what he was trying to say, but that was, poor choice of words, Prime Minister. As I said, right now, as we speak, they are getting ready. The Parliamentary Labour Party will have an emergency meeting. We'll find out if we're going to have any challenges against the leadership. Lucy Powell said, I will be sitting alongside Keir Starmer at the PLP, the Parliamentary Labour Party, this evening as Deputy Leader with my full support. He and I have been discussing in recent days and before how we need to do better to take the fight to reform, as we are doing in Galton and Denton, and by showing that we are on the side of ordinary people. That also means being more inclusive and collaborative in the way we work. Keir gets that, does he? I very much look forward to continuing that work together as one Labour team with Keir as our leader. I know most colleagues feel the same. She can't say all colleagues, because you have rebels outside the gate trying to burn down your castle. Now, the fascinating situation about what they've been dealing with is that, firstly, when people like Lucy Powell are going around saying that the fight is against reform. So by default, she admits that this is political. We care about party politics right now, not about the country. The priority is saving the Labour Party rather than the country. And obviously this is the whole major crisis on its own, because if you really cared about the country, you would try to get rid of your party leader. But that is not what's actually happening here. They don't really care about the country. Now we're going to wait for any updates on what is going on with the emergency meeting right now. But let's have a look. Ivan says Rayner needs to learn how to pay her taxes. That's a good start. Yep. Just ban Islam as a terrorist organization and the Quran as inciting violence. That won't really help with Keir Starmer's situation. Can Labour Party room change rules to allow Andy Burnham to stand as leader without him being an MP? Canada have that system, Australia. So they can always change rules. They've also recently changed rules. So if they change rules, it's just too many changes. They can, and they were trying to do something, the national executive, but it's still going to take some time. If Andy Burnham were in the House right now, in Parliament, I can assure you there would have been enough cabinet members who would publicly denounce the Prime Minister. Right now they can't, so the fight is now between the cabinet and the backbench MPs. Don't let Khan get near the leadership challenge. He can't, he's not an MP. Only MPs can do it. Well, technically others can do it, but you can't really have it's not wise to have a leader who's not in Parliament, because the whole point is you can only have Prime Minister from the House of Commons. So on paper, you can technically have a party leader who's not an MP, but that person won't be Prime Minister. You still have to pick one of your MPs to be Prime Minister. Should the UK military or King force the PM to quit? The military, no. We have democracy in this country, and the King doesn't have the power, despite the misunderstanding about the Constitution. Ironically, because of the precedent that we have, so the King technically has more powers to bring down the Australian government than the British government, which is it's a very technical differences. Technically, the King still has certain powers. Well, he has powers because he's the one appointing the Prime Minister, and he's the one obviously firing the Prime Minister. But constitutionally speaking, in terms of constitutional powers, if there is an emergency, if there is a complete meltdown in the country, then the King obviously has the constitutional powers to take charge. But if it's just a bad government, bad policies, no, the King can't, because especially after Charles I, Parliament is supreme in the United Kingdom. But ironically, on a technical level, it's kind of funny because the King can technically bring down the Australian Prime Minister, and the Queen did that. Reeves can't count, let alone tell the time. State has never been more separated from the people. I agree. Don't trust Reeves or anyone in Labour. Need a new election. Labour lies after lies. All parties lies. Politicians lie all the time. It's not just about Labour. Vote advance all the way. Every time I hear the name Keir Starmer, I keep seeing a star from the auction. It always reminds me of what's that cartoon character from the 80s? Oh, brain doesn't work. I'll come back to that. It's gone. Somebody help me. You know the face. And let's have a look. I'm just going to double check to see if there are any leaks from Parliament, because obviously the meeting hasn't started yet. It will start in the next 3 minutes to see how they can try to crush this rebellion. But otherwise, it's going to be tricky because it doesn't really matter, as I said, if the cabinets are backing the Prime Minister or not. The structure of the Labour Party is different to the Conservative Party. As I explained, with the Conservative Party, you need Labour, Tory MPs, enough of them, to sending the letters of no confidence. That triggers a vote of no confidence vote. Then the Tory MPs would vote to bring down their party leader and Prime Minister. With Labour, it doesn't work that way. You don't need to send in letters of no confidence. You simply need at least one challenger to do a leadership challenge. And you need, because they have 405 MPs, you need about 81 MPs in Parliament to back the challenger. And don't forget that how many members do they have in the cabinet? I think about 20, right? 20, 25 MPs, Labour MPs, are in the out of the 405, 20, 25 are in the cabinet backing the Prime Minister. And so then you kind of basically have about 390 MPs, right? 380, 390 MPs. Out of those guys, you're going to have to then see what percentage are the rebels. You need 81. And what percentage obviously are still backing the Prime Minister. And the way things stand, if they could pick a challenger, then things could change. But as things stand, it's difficult because the obvious names to challenge the Prime Minister or stand in any upcoming election, the majority of those names are already in the cabinet. Wes Streeting, for example, Shabana Mahmood, maybe David Lammy. And there is also the couple of other people, they are not in Parliament. For example, Andy Burnham, who's the Manchester mayor. He didn't stand in the by-election because the Keir Starmer's team blocked him from becoming a candidate because he's mayor. And if Andy Burnham were in Parliament, then you could have a challenger, but you're not going to have that. So what we are probably going to have is, this is the key point, the Gorton Denton by-election will be the nail in the coffin. That, but also the Labour Party will potentially lose that by-election, which is, what is it, next week, right? This week or next week, right? But it's a by-election. They will be losing it anyway. It's not about losing, it's about how much they will be losing it by. And it's about the May local elections. So it's currently February. In the next 3 months, that's when you know what's going to happen. Because afterwards, you're going to have either the Prime Minister being told by his own cabinet members quietly, privately, we're not going to come out publicly to say you have to go, but you have to go. Resign yourself. Starmer is probably still going to try and cling on. Then you're going to have either one of those cabinet members breaking ranks, resigning after May, or even maybe after the by-election, but still unlikely, after the May elections. Then that could give some hope to the Labour members that, we have someone to replace Starmer with. The issue is that right now, most of the cabinet members have come out passionately backing the PM. some of them haven't passionately backed him. So Rachel Reeves just came out, she released a statement that didn't really sound like she's fully backing the Prime Minister. She just said, we're busy working with Keir as our Prime Minister. Doesn't really say much. So the Prime Minister will not voluntarily resign. I highly doubt that, because then that's going to create big problems. You're going to have a challenger. You're going to have someone from the cabinet, because the backbenchers have names. They have some people. But I don't think any of the backbench MPs will have the confidence of the House to be able to stand up and say, I'm going to be your the leader of the rebellion, and then we're going to together bring down the Prime Minister. Even though on paper that is literally the best option. Right now, the backbench MPs who are, as of now, they're in a meeting with the cabinet and the Prime Minister, probably shouting at Keir Starmer as we speak. And we're going to get some intel soon to give you guys any leaked information about what they're talking about. But that aside, the best option for them is actually right now, but considering the cabinet are back in the PM, just go and find somebody from the backbenchers, get them ready, get them to become the challenger. You need 81 MPs. That's not really that difficult. Just get it done. That's literally the only option that they have. Let's just quickly also go to Birmingham, because the leader of Reform UK, Nigel Farage, has been speaking, trying to see if he said anything about Starmer's situation. We'll get that ready for you guys quickly. Also, something happening with Layla Cunningham, who's going to be the Reform UK's candidate for London. She'll be potentially the second Muslim mayor of London. But before we go to Layla, let's quickly go to Nigel Farage.
Sick because you've got mild anxiety. But it is an
Birmingham.
attitudinal change that Britain needs. An attitudinal change to hard work rather than work-life balance. An attitudinal change to the idea of working from home. People aren't more productive working at home. It's a load of nonsense. They're more productive being with other fellow human beings and working as part of a team.
Yeah, it's talking about the work from home situation. But we can go to Layla, who, as I said, is potentially going to be the second Muslim mayor in London, the candidate for Reform UK. Let's see what she had to say about Sadiq Khan.
Take the thing, how are you?
Wait, hang on. Where's the... We've lost the actual... Oh, it's coming. I was like, what is happening here? Everything kicked off completely. Let's go to Birmingham. Obviously, Reform UK are having a rally over there, so that's why they are all there. Let's go.
How are you? You all right? Can you really do a job on Sadiq Khan?
I'll do more of a job. I've got a message to Sadiq.
Oh?
His time's up. Because everyone in London knows that London should be the greatest city in the world, and the only party that's going to bring that about is Reform.
When you look today, you think of the job that you're trying to do in London, you see a Monday afternoon in Birmingham, 2,500 people. What does it make you think about this as a movement?
Listen, I get stopped by all kinds of people in London. You know, people tell me, oh, it's a certain type of voter that votes Reform. We all know it's not. There's no left or right. There's just voters who want a government that works for them, keeps them safe, keep taxes low, delivers good public services, and for God's sake, believes in the sovereignty of this country. And only Reform does that.
Thank you. Brilliant. There they are. Look at them. It's like...
So that's the problem with Reform UK, because they keep saying it's not left or right. They want both left and right in their party. And for those who don't obviously understand or care about political ideologies and values in life, then they'll say, yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, anybody who says they care about the country. Oh, okay. You do realize you could be even a nationalist, but also left-wing and right-wing. You could destroy the country by pretending to care about the country. There is also... I love how that was a bit of an own goal in the middle of the afternoon. Monday afternoon. I don't know what... Everybody's there. It's quite impressive turnout. I don't know why people are not at work. But ironically, the Reform UK were the same party that criticised left-wing activists when they came out to do rallies on a Monday afternoon or Wednesday afternoon. They always say, oh, they don't have jobs, go get a job. But they are having their own rally on a Monday afternoon, which started about like 3 p.m. or 2 p.m. So slightly confusing. But obviously Reform UK is still beating all the other parties because they are going with the tactic of centrism. So obviously economically left-wing policies, socially more right-wing policies, relatively speaking, obviously. As Margaret Thatcher would say, if you stand in the middle of the road, you're going to get hit by both sides. It's never a good idea. You need to just stand for the platform of freedom. It's the only way. And where are we? Labour's Defence Secretary's only military knowledge was owning an action man as a child, basically, literally. And you cannot fix a shattered window with the shards. The other problem is that the Tory party, the other idiots, is the other clowns in the room, they still don't really know how to get the team to seem more energetic. The Tories are still in a coma. And it's not even actually about Kemi Badenoch as their leader. There's some sort of virus right now that's infected them, and they basically have a flu, and they're just lying in bed since the last election. Even when Kemi Badenoch sometimes performs well in the House of Commons during the Prime Minister's questions or makes a speech, it still doesn't really work. Doesn't really work, and that is the fascinating part. I remember just before her death, I met Lady Thatcher, Margaret Thatcher, twice. And by the way, this was in the mid-2000s, and she was obviously unwell, but she's still somehow, the second time she met me, which was, I think, was it 2008, something like that, she remembered me. It's like, that was impressive. We had good conversations because one of the things she was saying at the time was she knew that British politics was going the wrong way, and that was in mid-2000s. Margaret Thatcher, when she was talking about, she was telling me about David Cameron. She didn't really criticize David Cameron, but Cameron became a Tory leader in the opposition. But you could see, we got Blair as Prime Minister, we've got Cameron, similar style of politics, and she could see the rest of the quality of the MPs, and even that at the time, most of them have now left. She knew in about 20 years' time, we're going to have Parliament run by a bunch of idiots. Now, the quality of MPs, you had both left-wing and right-wing. Back in the 80s, until the 90s, you can't match that anymore. For example, people like Ben from the Labour Party, very left-wing, but had integrity, had quality. Clement Attlee, Labour Prime Minister in the 50s, disagreed with everything they stood for, well, most of it. He was very much pro-empire for a Labour leader, but he had quality. Winston Churchill, domestic policies, quite left-leaning, not the best, but he still believed in free market capitalism. Great leader. Margaret Thatcher, and even technically Neil Kinnock. Technically, he still did quite well for the Labour Party. He prepared the Labour Party for the likes of Tony Blair. But obviously, then since the age of Blairism, which is thanks to Peter Mandelson and Alastair Campbell, then they also created the days of Cameroon politics. Everything became robotic, polished, disgusting, boring, and fake. And that is what we're dealing with. Everybody's lying. And everybody is just doing things, not even for their own interests, because they don't even know what their interests are supposed to be. It's short-termism, short-term nonsense. All parties have somehow the moral high ground. All of them. And until yesterday, they were all part of similar parties. You got the Tories with the moral high ground right now, saying we are better than the others, you can't trust the others. The Labour Party is saying the same thing, you can't trust any of the opposition. Reform UK, who are basically 99% Tories and they're 1% Labour, saying, no, you can't trust the Tories or Labour. I'm like, what are you talking about? You were literally Tory 10 minutes ago. And then Advance UK is saying, yeah, you can't trust any of the others either. UKIP would say, you can't trust any of the others either. Green Party, you can't trust any of the others. The Lib Dems, no, we are the best ones. Just stop it. There's this battle, there's this fight on morality. It's just weird. They're not really fighting on actual solutions. They are fighting on personalities, on trust. You can't trust that one, you can trust this one. Show me how. Don't just say, don't trust that, trust this. The battle is not about ideas. It's just about personalities. Your guy is bad, my guy is good. But why? Until yesterday, you were saying that guy is good. Oh, now you don't like that guy, so it's this guy. So tomorrow you're going to say the other guy? Same problem every single time. Anyway, let's wait for more information, especially leaked details coming out of the Parliamentary Labour Party meeting that is happening now. And we'll give you guys more updates. There's also some development in Iran, which will come back shortly. There's a massive political civil war inside the regime. The regime are now arresting each other. I'm not even kidding. The Islamic Republic are arresting the Islamic Republic. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Tousi, and we are the media.